Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's October 16th, 2025. Great to be with all of you this morning at 8:48 Eastern Time. My name is Bob Lang, and it's time for our Daily Bites. We bring this to you every Monday and Thursday morning, roughly around 8:30, 8:45. Talk a little bit about markets, the economy, trading, volatility, Federal Reserve, anything under the sun that we could talk about that will help us have a really good trading day ahead for the next couple of days. So here we are, October 16th. We're about midway through the month of October, and so far, so good for the bulls, right? S&P 500 is up a little bit. Russell 2000 leading the way, up about almost 3% so far this month. That is a really strong pace. Probably not going to continue unless we get some more short covering coming in before the end of the month. We're really getting started with earnings season. We had the banks kick off earnings earlier this week. We have quite a few more regional banks coming out today and tomorrow. We have American Express tomorrow morning, Schlumberger, SLB, and Ally Bank tonight. After the close, we'll hear from Interactive Brokers and Rail CSX, Consolidated Rail, and a couple of other names as well too. So far this morning, we saw good earnings from Taiwan Semi and Charles Schwab, along with Bank of New York, BK, and Travelers actually came with some good numbers too. I'm not sure what that chart's doing right now. So anyhow, it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? So we had a real strong rally on Monday, which followed that huge drop on Friday. And then it looked like we were going to head right back down on Tuesday morning, when China retaliated somewhat with some tariff policies of their own versus what President Trump announced on Friday, the 10th or 11th. Last week was the 10th, right? And so we had a big, huge drop. But what's interesting, and you have to understand why this market is quite bullish right now, is that drop, while huge, almost 1.5%, nearly 2% in the Russell 2000 and the industrials. That drop was bought up viciously by the dip buyers. Okay, so it tells you what? It tells you that the dip buyers are active and they're looking for opportunities to buy stuff when the market dips like this. It's just not all that normal in a bear market or in normal markets that you see this behavior happening, but certainly happens in bull markets. So it's something we have to be aware of. So it simply means you don't want to get too bearish right now. Obviously, conditions are going to change down the road. We're not trying to predict when that's going to happen. We know it's going to happen at some point in time, but the markets will give you signals when those conditions change, and we will move accordingly from bullish behavior to maybe neutral or possibly even bearish behavior. I want to share with you a couple of charts. First of all, we see the S&P futures are up nicely, up about 30 handles. NASDAQ up 166, Dow Industrials up 114, buoyed by some positive words last night from Salesforce.com CEO Mark Benioff. Came out and said that revenues are going to grow a lot faster than they had expected the last time they reported their earnings, which was back in early September. So I see Snowflake is up nicely on a deal with partnership with Palantir. That one you might want to take a look at. SNOW is the symbol on that one. Palantir also up a little bit. We're seeing some good strength still in some of these smaller speculative names, whether they're in energy or quantum or AI or something like that. You know, I'm looking at names like Oklo and Irene, IRE Energy, IREN, being talked about a lot because a lot of people are suffering from a disease called FOMO. We all know what FOMO means, right? Fear of missing out. So there's a lot of people out there who are watching these stocks going up like crazy, and instead of sucking it up and just going ahead and buying names that have good, strong momentum, they're out talking about how, oh, these stocks are going to crash. This stock's going to go down 99%. You just wait. You're going to feel a lot of pain. You know, the boy that cried wolf. In the meantime, I mean, some of these names I've been on, and the people in our chat room have been on, and they've been making bank over and over and over again. So I got one thing to say. I and many of my colleagues who are in the chat room are not going to apologize for making money. The money that we make on IR Energy or Oklo or something like that is the same, is just as good of money as you make on Nvidia and Microsoft. Okay, money is still green, as far as I'm concerned. So no, I'm not going to apologize for that. Is it a bubble? Sure. But as I said to Josh Lipton a couple of weeks ago when I was at, or last week actually when I was at Yahoo, there's always a bubble somewhere. There's always a bubble. So what? And so you identify a bubble and it gets big and then it blows up in your face. So what? As long as you step in, step out at hopefully the right time early before that bubble pops, and they just move on to the next trade, right? So bubble schmubble, I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. The only time you should be worried about a bubble is if you stay too long and things explode in your face, and it makes it very, very difficult to get out of the trade. So I mean, we're just stepping in there, finding good opportunities, looking for the best momentum names, and stepping out and taking our profits when we have them. So it's been a really great week for us, especially in the chat room and in the service. We've done really, really well. We took some nice profits on Vert earlier this week, Vertiv, VRT in the service. We took some nice profits in Walmart. I mean, here's an old line retailer, had an enormous day on Tuesday, followed through on Wednesday, and we added some more on Tuesday, and that trade is actually up about 45%. On top of the one that we added about a month ago, which was up almost 100% gain in a stock called Walmart. I like to see some of the people who are bashing these small cap stocks that apparently don't make any money. I want to see them bash me on a trade on Walmart where we made nearly 100% on an options trade. So I think we'll hear some silence from them. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about other people. I'm just going to talk about what we're doing and what we're doing in markets, right? So again, we have a good rally coming up here. Don't forget, tomorrow is an options expiration day. It's going to be kind of a lighter expiration day than we had last month, which was triple witching, but still it will have some influence. We do see some movement down in volatility. The VIX is down now below 20%. We had a little bit of a rise above 20, and it's as the news comes filtering out about stuff. I think right now, why is the VIX still elevated a little bit? I think it's really related to two things. It's related to this recent chatter about tariffs, and also I think there's still a little bit of doubt whether the government is going to reopen, and hopefully it's going to happen within a week or so. I heard the Speaker of the House saying that he thinks that maybe after this weekend they'll get serious and start talking about reopening the government. But until then, there's still a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen, and certainly there's some doubt out there whether the government is going to reopen. It's been closed for about 2 weeks now, and it's tough, right? When workers out there are getting laid off or fired, and have to figure out what to do. We're coming up on the holidays. It's not a good time to be losing your job, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully this gets resolved pretty soon, and we can just move forward. So again, pay attention to what's going on. We had a Philly Fed this morning. We had Empire State numbers came out. Neither of those numbers were very good. Retail sales, again, is being held up by the government shutdown, and so is CPI and PPI, which was supposed to be released this morning. I think at the end of the day, it's making the Fed's job a little bit harder because they don't have hard data. Remember, this is something that they've been talking about for a couple of years. We're going to let the data tell us where we're going to go. So, I mean, they can estimate based on some of the data that they have, which is not very much, but at the end of the day, it's going to make it very, very difficult for them to make a decision. I mean, they do have a Fed meeting coming up in about 10 days where it's more than likely they're going to cut rates again. The market is expecting another rate cut, but December, maybe that's going to be a little bit more open for discussion. But anyway, that's going to be it, everyone. Have a great day. I did want to leave you with a chart. Take a look at this, and you can see the Russell 2000 is printed a nice new high yesterday, but it also printed a doji. So you got to be careful with this one. This is one of those indecision names. The bulls didn't want to take it any higher. The bears didn't want to take it any lower. So if we do have a red day today, I'm not sure if we're set up for that, but if we do have a red day on the IWM, got to be careful there, especially make a lower high, lower low. And if we follow through and come back down to this 50-day moving average, we should see a little bit of a test to that level. We didn't quite get there last Friday. We did get a test of that 50-day moving average on the industrials last Friday. You can see that right here. We see touchdown on that. We even touched down on it on Tuesday, tested that successfully. So that makes this actually probably the bullish chart of all four, the S&P 500, SPY, QQQ, IWM. The DIA, I think, is probably the most bullish chart right here for a continuation move. So again, that's going to be it, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate all you spending a little bit of time with me. I'll see you guys all back on Monday morning. Trade well today, trade well tomorrow, and enjoy the weekend. It's getting chilly out here in New England, but one of these days I'm going to be wearing pants. And I'll see you guys all on Monday. Enjoy a little bit more Power Station. Thanks.